Hey, what's up, film lovers? Welcome back to the channel. So, this video is more of a 360-degree introduction. So, it's like a quick ride through the wild and wonderful corners of Hong Kong cinema. I actually originally planned to do this as my first video, but I got caught up too much on my love for the wuxia genre, so I did a video on that one first. You can find that right here. So, about this video essay, think of it as a trailer before the main feature, which will be made up of more focused video essays diving deeper into the topics we touch on here. So, whether it's through the legendary kung fu moves of Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan's gravity-defying stunts, or even the kung fu hustle madness from Stephen Chow, there's definitely some iconic Hong Kong cinema stuff that almost any film buff knows of. You see, when people talk about Hong Kong films, they usually think about one thing, kung fu. But man, Hong Kong cinema is so much more. I would say, like, from, historical epics to psychological thrillers, fantasy blockbusters to heart-pounding gunfights. It's a melting pot of genres, all blended in a style you won't find anywhere else in the world. Well, it's just dope in so many ways, I would say, and that's why I would like you to, yeah, dive together with me into this diverse and yet wild, and sometimes even mind-bending world of Hong Kong movies. So first off, let's talk about what we really came for, the fight choreography. Hong Kong films have taken martial arts to a whole new level. This isn't just about throwing a punch. Nah, this is art in motion. The moves are crisp, precise, and full of beauty. Think of Bruce Lee's Way of the Dragon, Sammo Hung's brutal yet graceful choreography, or Yuan Wu Ping's innovative moves in The Matrix. Yes, even Hollywood borrowed from these guys.
They're absolute masters at making every move feel bigger, faster, and more impressive than you thought possible. You'll see impactful flying jump kicks and acrobatic reactions to blows to further highlight the impact. Unorthodox yet breathtaking moves that leave you stunned. Teamwork-based sequences where fighters move like a single unit. A dazzling mix of weapons such as staffs, spears, and swords. These are then blended seamlessly with lightning-fast hand-to-hand or kicking techniques. Even unusual weapons, chainsaws, neon sticks,
And plates.
get their moment to shine. It's basically all about turning the fight into an art form.
So classic Hong Kong action films blend natural man-made materials like glass, bamboo, wood, not only as props, but as visceral elements that shape the flow of the fight. So a chair isn't just a chair. A tennis racket isn't just a tennis racket. It's a rhythm device, a punctuation mark in the choreography. Now let's talk about stunts. Oh boy. the stunts. We're talking about no wires, no safety nets, just straight up chaos. And guess what? They were doing this stuff back in the 80s, way before Hollywood started faking it with CGI. We're talking about some of the wildest, most daring stunts you'll ever see. In addition, Hong Kong stunts also include elements such as fire, used in very creative ways, as well as materials like concrete. Insane, isn't it? Stunt choreographers in Hong Kong are incredibly inventive when it comes to incorporating props and the environment into the actual stunts, as we can see here. Gravity-defying stunt madness is obviously part of the repertoire as well. Even motorbike and car stunts take on a totally different meaning in Hong Kong. It's a high-octane dance between man, machine, and cityscape. Truly insane and awe-inspiring stuff, guys. Now, let's talk about Gun Fu. If you have seen a John Woo film like A Better Tomorrow or The Killer, you know exactly what I mean. This genre took the action movie world by storm. Gun Fu is all about stylized, almost balletic gunfights, where characters are basically dancing around bullets. It's choreography with guns. It's not just about shooting, it's about style, precision, and emotion. Basically, you could say it's the perfect marriage of action and artistry. John Woo revolutionized the genre with his slow-motion shootouts, dramatic gunplay, and high-stakes drama. And don't even get me started on the heroic bloodshed theme. Stories of troubled, morally ambiguous characters, haunted by their past, bound by loyalty and driven by revenge, all while dodging bullets. Influenced by spaghetti westerns and American crime films, Hong Kong's Gun Fu cinema became the blueprint for many Western productions as well, with its impact visible in everything from Desperado and John Wick, to Max Payne and The Matrix. In the latter two, the slow-motion bullet owes a nod to Ringo Lam's 1992 action epic Full Contact, as we can see very clearly in this footage right here. The Xianxia films feature other worldly settings, supernatural powers, and magical creatures. Occasionally, there are martial arts scenes in these films, but they are usually deeply intertwined with fantastical elements like flying warriors and mystical powers. So, Xianxia is a subgenre of Chinese fantasy films. It kind of blends martial arts with elements of Taoist and Buddhist mythology, immortality, and gods. It's typically about cultivation, where characters try to transcend their mortal limits, become immortal, or harness spiritual energy. The genre involves magical realms, immortals, gods, spirits, and Taoist or Buddhist philosophies. In Hong Kong cinema, fantasy and xianxia aren't just visual spectacles. They are rooted in ancient Chinese philosophy, where Taoism, Buddhism, and folklore shape stories of cultivation, immortality, and transcendence. These films transport us to mystical realms filled with flying warriors, celestial beings, enchanted swords, and magical beasts, where the boundary between human and divine kind of blurs. Films like Zoo Warriors from the Magic Mountain blend high energy martial arts with deep metaphysical themes, exploring destiny, rebirth, and the eternal struggle between light and darkness. So it's a genre where combat becomes more of a philosophy, and every battle is both external and spiritual. Characters strive basically to transcend mortal limitations through rigorous training and alignment with cosmic forces. Films like Peacock King, which is an adaptation of a Japanese manga. In this film, the protagonists, two monks from different traditions, unite their power to confront the resurrected Demon Queen, combining esoteric rituals and martial prowess. In the climactic battle between these forces underscores the fusion of Taoist and Buddhist philosophies, emphasizing themes of unity, spiritual warfare, and the triumph of good over evil through combined wisdom. These scenes encapsulate the rich tapestry of themes prevalent in Hong Kong's fantasy and xianxia cinema, blending martial arts, spiritual quests, and metaphysical explorations. Hong Kong is also home to some of the most gripping crime thrillers and existential dramas. Directors like Alex Cheung, Wong Kar-wai, Andrew Lau, Johnny To, Ringo Lam, or Alex Law have brought some truly haunting stories to life. Their films dive deep into the human psyche, exploring the alienation, despair, and tension of living in a rapidly changing society. Most of you probably already watched films like Infernal Affairs, the movie that Scorsese remade into The Departed, which I personally like much less. It wasn't really as good as the original Hong Kong film. Hong Kong crime thrillers will make you question everything, and the performances are always top-notch. It's not just about the heist, the chase. It's about the psychological toll of living on the edge. Infernal Affairs captures the deep psychological, ethical, and existential undercurrents that define Hong Kong's darker cinematic gems. Films that aren't just about action or crime, but about who we are when everything else is stripped away. Here's how that plays out in Infernal Affairs. If we think about philosophy and ethics, there's quite a lot that Infernal Affairs actually explores. Topics such as dual identity and moral relativism. What does it mean to be good or bad when you are living a lie on both sides of the law? Existential anxiety. Both protagonists are basically trapped in roles they can't escape, highlighting the loss of self and the absurdity of identity. And then we also have topics such as karma and fate. There are a lot of Buddhist undertones that reflect the weight of choices and the impossibility of escaping your path. In the now already legendary rooftop confrontation, undercover cop Yan, played by Tony Leung, confronts Mole Inspector Lau, played by Andy Lau. So the tension culminates in a moment where Yen declares, "I'm a cop," a powerful assertion of identity amidst blurred lines between law enforcement and criminality. This confrontation underscores the film's exploration of dual identities and the psychological toll of living a double life. Films like Johnny To's Election provide a great overview on the illusion of order. In the film's final murder scene, two rival gang leaders who had been locked in a struggle for the chairmanship of a Hong Kong triad sit together, fishing, after the position has been secured by Locke, played by Simon Yam. Johnny To delivers a sharp commentary on the illusion of order in both criminal and societal systems. You see, despite the triad's seemingly democratic process, power ultimately reverts to violence and betrayal. The philosophical message is clear. Institutional structures, whether democratic or hierarchical, can be hollow when driven by ambition and self-interest. Ethically, the film raises the question of whether leadership attained through manipulation and murder can ever claim legitimacy. The scene reflects a real-world political hypocrisy, where ideals are often betrayed for personal gain. Even a topic as tragic as death, I had never seen portrayed so gracefully as in the Hong Kong film called The Last Dance. Anselm Chen's masterpiece is an exploration of death, love, the dual nature of traditions, and their enduring power and inherent limitations. Across 127 minutes, this beautifully photographed work of art guided me through a whirlwind of emotions, seamlessly balancing the heavy weight of its themes with moments of levity. The takeaways of The Last Dance are quite a few. We must learn to let go despite our pain, adapt traditions to modern realities, embrace honesty with those who matter most. The film also underlines how wisdom, much like all things in life, is fleeting. At 82, Michael Hui delivers a career-defining performance alongside Dayo Wong, reaffirming that they are among cinema's finest. Chen's direction and writing mark him as a fresh, vital voice in Hong Kong cinema, deserving to be on the top list of film aficionados worldwide. Overall, for me, every department shines in delivering a profound meditation on the duality of life and death, love and empathy amidst these themes of uncertainty and struggle. I have to say that The Last Dance definitely holds a cherished spot in my personal top 10 films of all time. That might be surprising to some, but I definitely suggest you to watch this film. Or, like Dayo Wong said towards the end, just hop onto the bus and enjoy the ride. It's worth it. In Hong Kong cinema, masks don't just hide faces. They reveal truth. Whether it's an undercover cop, a triad leader, or a boy in Peking opera makeup, a funeral homeowner, every character is searching for a way out of themselves. Hong Kong has produced some truly mind-blowing historical films that explore not just the past, but the philosophy of honor, power, and betrayal. Directors like Peter Chan and John Woo brought to life sagas about ancient warriors, political intrigue, and battles that shaped empires. Films like Radcliffe are not just about swords, they're about strategy, sacrifice, and morality. So Radcliffe is not just a war film, it's a cinematic chessboard. The Battle of Radcliffe, around 208 Common Era, was a famous real-life fight during China's Three Kingdoms era. In John Woo's version, it's shown as a clever and intricate game of wits between two brilliant leaders called Zhuge Liang and Zhou Yu, who joined forces to outsmart their common enemy, the powerful warlord Cao Cao. What makes the film fascinating from a strategic perspective is the emphasis on asymmetrical warfare. If you think about it, the southern forces are outnumbered but win through deception, environment manipulation, like wind patterns, and morale. Zhuge Liang's use of Sun Tzu-style tactics, such as winning without fighting, leveraging the terrain, turning your enemy's strengths into a weakness. The fire attack at the climax is a masterclass in long-term thinking, weather observation, and coordinated timing. An act of strategy built not just on logic, but also faith and intuition and harmony with nature, a distinctly Taoist element. Zhuge Liang is portrayed almost like a sage, a man who wins through clarity of mind, empathy, and calmness, never through brute force. His character reflects Confucian virtues like loyalty and righteousness, and Taoist flow, like non-resistance and balance. One of the scenes that I found very interesting was the use of the borrowing arrows with the straw boat strategy scene. It's a brilliant moment that captures Sun Tzu-style strategic genius. Winning without direct confrontation, using the enemy's strengths against them. It's also a metaphor for patience, timing, and psychological insight. In the Three Kingdoms period, Zhuge Liang's strategy of using straw boats to collect arrows during the Battle of Chibi or Red Cliffs isn't about directly confronting the enemy. Instead, it shows more of an indirect approach, leveraging the strengths of the enemy's army, the arrows, against them. So the enemy, led by Cao Cao, had a powerful fleet of ships, equipped with archers. These archers were their strengths, and their ability to shoot arrows was a significant tactical advantage in battle. Instead of engaging in a direct combat with Cao Cao's army, which was numerically superior, Zhuge Liang used a clever ploy. He arranged for a fleet of boats covered in straw man to be floated toward the enemy's fleet on a foggy night. So the enemy, seeing the boats, believed they were under attack, and they fired volleys of arrows at them, effectively donating arrows. So the outcome was that Zhuge Liang's forces collected the arrows shot at the straw boats, thus gaining a large stockpile of arrows without having to expend any resources themselves. So this is really a prime example of indirect warfare. Zhuge Liang used the enemy's strengths, their archers' firepower, and turned them into a weakness, allowing him to exploit the situation without confrontation. I found that extremely interesting because the use of enemy strengths here isn't about directly using their power, but rather manipulating their actions in a way that benefits your side. It's less about physical confrontation and more about strategic foresight and psychological manipulation, which is already very different from what you're used to in the martial arts genre. Peter Chan's The Warlords is more focused on the morality of power and betrayal. It's set during the Taiping Rebellion in the 1860s China. It's basically a brutal look at power dynamics. Unlike the elegant tactics in Red Cliff, this film shows the ugliness of ambition and realpolitik. General Peng, which is interpreted by Jet Li, he uses calculated alliances and bloody sacrifices, not out of honor, but to maintain control and fulfill his idea of peace through authoritarian stability, basically. Right? I think one of the key scenes is really the one where General Peng orders the massacre of surrendered soldiers after a victory. This is a deeply disturbing moment in the film that forces the audience to confront the moral collapse that power and ambition can bring. It's kind of echoing classic Chinese debates on utilitarianism versus Confucian ethics. Does the end justify the means? What happens when ideals collapse under the weight of necessity? Is betrayal always immoral, or is it sometimes a cost of leadership? By the end, you're left with a question, right, on whether Peng was a visionary or a monster. Films like Red Cliff or The Warlords reflect how Hong Kong historical epics transcend action. Both show that strategy is not only a matter of tactics, it's a matter of what kind of person or society we choose to be when the world falls apart.
就在这里，杀了4000个穷人，知道吗？不是穷人，谁会去打仗？小顺子、小五子、小七子，哪个不是穷人？但他们是兵，士兵就会死。我会放下刀，将来你会知道，我今天的决定是对的。
And hey, don't forget about the horror. Hong Kong has its own unique approach to terror. Directors like Herman Yao, Kwei Chi-hung, or the Pang brothers have made some of the most chilling films, blending psychological horror, supernatural, and gore in ways that will haunt you for days. It's like someone combined a nightmare with an art exhibit. Think of films like The Eye. It's a perfect blend of supernatural and psychological horror. So I would say that the main topic there is really the fusion of ghostly supernatural elements with slow-building psychological dread. Think of the elevator scene, when the protagonist Wong Ka-mun, played by Angelica Lee, sees a ghostly figure in the corner of an elevator that slowly turns its head toward her. Why does that work? The scene encapsulates the Pang brothers' mastery of silence, tension, and spatial unease. The horror isn't just in the ghost, it's in the isolation, the anticipation, and the inability to escape. And then you have films like Ebola Syndrome, where extreme gore meets social satire. The film is like an outrageous exploitation horror with grotesque violence that also critiques social breakdown and depravity. So think of the kitchen scene where Anthony Wong's character prepares meat tainted with an Ebola virus by grinning maniacally. This moment is both revolting and darkly satirical. Herman Yao pushes gore to the extreme, yet the over-the-top direction and Wong's grotesque performance make it feel like a grotesque, chaotic dance. Horrifying, yes, but also a surreal commentary on contagion, chaos, and moral decay. So Hong Kong horror doesn't just scare you, it seduces you with its madness. It's like stepping into a nightmare, designed by a film school valedictorian with a dark side.
我咩都唔信。
And here we are with the last chapter of this video essay. Obviously, we can't forget the comedy. Here we see some scenes from Mr. Vampire, a film that straddles horror and humor. So we see how Hong Kong filmmakers love to blur the lines between genres. Mr. Vampire blends the vampire/zombie lore of the Chinese jiangshi with laugh-out-loud comedy, making it a perfect bridge from our penultimate chapter on horror into the lively world of comedy. Now, in Hong Kong comedies, artists such as Stephen Chow and the Hui brothers are masters at making us laugh until we can't breathe. Their films are filled with slapstick, satire, and just the right amount of weirdness. Basically, comedy on steroids. Michael Hui's comedies from the 70s and 80s are prime examples of Hong Kong humor. They mix slapstick with sharp social satire, often critiquing consumerism, bureaucracy, and the daily struggles of the working class. His style is marked by clever wordplay, exaggerated physical comedy, and a focus on everyday absurdities. Some of my favorite Michael Hui movies are Private Eyes and Chicken and Duck Talk. In The Private Eyes, he basically mocks macho bravado and amateur detective work with hilarious and absurd missions. And in Chicken and Duck Talk, which is a chaotic kitchen showdown between a traditional Chinese restaurant and a fast food competitor, he humorously highlights modernization and cultural clashes through food-related slapstick. Michael Hui's approach left a lasting mark on modern Hong Kong filmmakers, setting the blueprint for blending entertainment with social commentary. Directors like Stephen Chow and Pang Ho-cheung carry on his legacy, mixing absurd humor with critiques of society. Key elements of Hui's comedic style are social satire, so he uses humor to explore anxieties about modernization, westernization, and local identity. Techniques that Stephen Chow later refined in films like Shaolin Soccer or Kung Fu Hustle. He also uses character-driven humor, so you see a lot of flawed everyman, greedy, insecure, bumbling, who are both relatable and also laughable. And he also makes a lot of use of dialogue paired with physical comedy. So Cantonese wordplay combined with visual slapstick sets the rhythm for Hong Kong comedy. Modern directors like Pang Ho-cheung continue this mix with a sharper, edgier tone. And obviously, Michael Hui made a lot of use of Hong Kong-specific themes, from working class struggles to family dynamics and small business pressures. Hui's films are deeply local, a flavor preserved in the new wave and post-1997 cinema. In short, we can say Michael Hui helped shape a uniquely Cantonese form of satire. Funny, fast, and socially aware. That we can say continues to resonate today, actually. Now, Stephen Chow is another globally recognized face for Cantonese comedy. The Cantonese term most commonly used to describe Stephen Chow's unique brand of comedy is mo lei tao, which literally means makes no sense or nonsensical. So his films are often filled with absurd and often hilariously out-of-place humor, such as exaggerated dialogues or facial expressions, or parodies of serious tropes like kung fu or romance. Stephen Chow basically popularized mo lei tao comedy in Hong Kong cinema during the 90s. The term is now strongly associated with his films, though others have adopted the style too. Here are some examples that definitely will crack you up.
太極功夫淨饅頭咧，驚天動地，饅頭睇落又香又甜，好鬼上食。但見阿妹雙臂好力，令到阿哥唔提頭地。
你做咩啊你？
除咗唱歌，我諗唔到其他方法去表達我內心嘅興奮同對你嘅仰慕。
條肥婆鬼晒咁嘈，死有餘辜啊！學嘢啦！
點解嘅？
有咩點解啫？你嚟釘。
唔好意思啊，你覺得點啊？
咁後生，一定係俾鳌拜逼嘅，唉，真可憐。嗱，一睇就知佢唔夠瞓，即刻上去我屋企等我同佢瞓翻2晚。喂，鳌拜果然心狠手辣，你睇將佢打到腫成咁樣，即刻上去我屋企等我同佢醫。嚇！鳌拜呢個契弟，果然由8歲到80歲都唔肯放過㗎。
大人有啲誤會啊，呢個唔係鳌拜老婆，係鳌拜老母啊，肯唔肯埋？
送去你屋企？
送我屋企做咩啊？
家有一老啊，如有一寶，加整件寶俾你喎，嗱，抵請宵夜啦啩？好啊！
好咩？冰你啦！
So there you have it. From martial arts mayhem and insane stunts to gunfights, touching dramas, crime films, horror chills, and nonsensical comedies. Hong Kong cinema truly has it all. Style, substance, and boldness converge in a uniquely cinematic cocktail. In future videos, we'll dive deep into specific films, genres, themes, tropes, actors, and directors. So I hope you enjoyed it, and catch you next time.
細雨大風濕透黃昏的街道，抹去雨水，雙眼無故地仰望望向。